And we are back with the league third match, and this time I am not alone. Joining me now for casting is going to be MTarget, the guy behind the camera for the first two times. Now you get to watch with me as we see these guys fight it out for first.
Yep, and that also means that I don't have. You can't blame me, I should say, for when we have camera issues. So
Exactly.
I did my best, but again, I'm trying to learn it. So completely different. So first time we had a relatively middling line. Second one very vertical across one side of the map, and this one we've got sort of a horizontal or a very diagonal but still middle one. And wow, the number of people dropping early, looking to try and get to Milta or the power plants. Could be interesting, but I'm definitely interested to see where everybody else goes, as well as, again, a lot of options across this line.
Yeah, this has been the first spawn that we've had that's really been kind of open for a military-based start as well, or even going towards Nova, where players can kind of get really aggressive early on. Although, again, based on the fact that they're going to be placed or scored based on their placings, a lot of players not necessarily looking for that early aggression. Getting knocked out this early on, it can get you something, but it's not going to get you like pretty much anything you would want right now. I think Froka, Bod, maybe a couple other players might be looking over here. We see Godzilla and Fioris, both players that were kind of aggressive in the last game, looking for that, as we're going to be looking at Highman Pro and a couple of other players landing over here towards Milta Power, just like you said.
Something definitely worth noting is that a lot of the people that we've seen make it late, not necessarily been entertaining to watch early, but make it late,
Sure.
are very much in the middle, probably 4 to 6 yellow quadrants. Again, Aldo Stockbar, whole lot of fun to watch. Hasn't really made it into top 20 yet, but still has had some interesting moments, often landing near somebody. Not so lucky this time around for finding a weapon just yet. But again, Machine Gunner, Katie Cakes, everybody else that we have seen go late, although Edgar Allan Pug is in this area, are in that middle section. Though Smithy and Sacrity both have made it over to Gargapole.
And right now,
Raptor to Raptor, kind of just trying to run over L2P. Two of our later positioning players. So these guys both very high in score, but maybe not for long.
And when it comes down to it right now, I mean, the UAZ, so while the kill might be able to found here against Lush, as he's just still circling around, kind of like a shark circling its final meal, not able to find the kill, and honestly kind of wasting both of their time, depending on where the circle is now that it's spawned. They're going to really kind of possibly need to rush for this. Is still looking for the kill, still trying to find it. The tree causing a little bit more trouble for him. Lush actually going to go ahead and make the run for it, try to loot up whatever he might be able to find, get a gun, possibly turn around and kill Raptor to Raptor, depending on whether or not Raptor to Raptor decides to stick around over here.
Yep, and now Daniel and Killeris 3000 in a bit of a standoff here. Only pistols, though. Both look like they're P92s. But again, Daniel, no health, or a significant health disadvantage, I should say. No health kit on him, it appears. Though he does have the helmet, which, well, nice. Not great.
I like this side view that we get to see, just seeing them, both of them just waiting for the other to make the mistake of peeking out and giving one to get the aggression right now.
And he makes the kill.
Forward. Actually, I think we're going to see the stop hill come out. One shot, one kill, going to be able to get that one.
Yep, so very well done there. And Red Eagle, once again, doing like the rotational thing. We're taking a look at every single window and really checking things out here. Let's see. We missed Smithy get a kill onto Texas, but unfortunately for Texas, Texas is out early now. I believe he was our winner last round, correct? Yeah, he killed.
Yeah, and that's actually going to kind of level it out. Smithy, making it top 5. He was number 1 the first game. He's kind of the player that I'm expecting to see again make it that far. He's done it, I guess, regularly, if 2 games can be counted as regularly. So one of the, I want to say, just stronger players with that rotation, and being able to take Texas out this early on is going to hurt Texas' standing, but it's going to allow Smithy to potentially have less opponents as it is late game. And the circle has spawned, and it's going to be over here on the west side. Kind of the first time we've seen it covered this portion of the map. It's going to be a little bit unfortunate for those that did land over there towards kind of Milta, Lipovka. We see some up even towards the north in Severny. They're going to have to find cars, or they're going to have to start running relatively soon, because this circle is going to start closing soon.
Yeah, and funnily enough, I have noticed that the distance from east to west, because it's technically a square, it's everything is even corner to corner, but going from B to G or G to B feels so much further than going from J to O or vice versa. even though that's technically about the same distance. So I think it's just
And
because horizontally or from east to west, there's so much more to deal with in terms of you're going
yeah,
through multiple cities or having to go around them.
that and having to deal with kind of the terrain. There's like a lot of like just small bumps and mountain ranges that you'll hit going from east to west or west to east. And in this kind of case, a lot of these players are going to have that issue dealing with the map, especially when they're driving across it. I mean, we saw it last game. We saw the game before. There will be people who will be running around what will look kind of seemingly smooth, and they'll end up getting flipped out as we're kind of going to hover over this water village looking for whatever relic might be able to find. There are going to be two players potentially knowing each other's whereabouts, but at this point, going to be patiently looting and probably surprised when they run into each other.
It should be interesting to see. Again, outside of a couple skirmishes of people who are in the same area, like Salt and Pepper. Actually, he's chilling out alone. But again, other than some of those landing skirmishes, I definitely don't expect to see too much until the circle really starts to get shut down here. Especially because we don't have, the full 100. We only have about 50 to start here. It's not like it's going to be quite as compacted in some areas.
Yeah, and as we've seen from the first two games so far, like the first circle isn't quite as impactful as you would normally see, like you said, in a 100-person game, because you're not going to be dropping by half usually, which is what you would see there. You're already starting at around 50, so unless some of these players are sitting on the edge, like where we see Edgar Allan Pug, or we see Salto Pepper, just kind of sitting on the edge of the circle waiting for players to come in, for the most part, we're not going to see a huge bloodbath until this next circle once everyone makes it in there. There's still going to be some kills, some picks between now and then, and I'm like right now, Datmosen kind of going full blast on the motorcycle has potential to not only kill himself, depending on how this goes for him terrain-wise, but also getting picked off. A louder vehicle causes a little bit more of attention, and those who do sit on the edge of the circle will have that little bit of advantage, especially since it's a motorcycle, not enough cover.
Yeah, should be interesting. Again, motorcycle, every patch since it's come out has gotten at least a little bit of attention, whether it be handles better, actively drives better, things like that. So that's, it's not as much of a death trap as it was day one. So at least there's that. Again, though, looking at this point, Tink Tank coming up on the edge of the circle, though, looking for one last round of cycling. Looks like we did see some combat over near Milta as well, but more importantly, though, in front of us, we have Relic and Red Eagle going at it, or possibly going at it. I'm sure at least Red Eagle seems to know that Relic is there, but that's about it.
Looking to possibly get the drop onto Relic, as Relic's still looking to run around and loot. This is going to be one of those small advantages. Depending on how Relic runs through the village, the water will slow him down, and that might give Red Eagle just that little bit of an advantage to be able to shoot at him. It's going to be the big one, depending on whether Relic actually peeks over the wall there. All he needed to do was turn to the left. Doesn't seem like he spotted out Red Eagle, and now it's going to be another one. He is on the run, though, and at this point gaining a little bit more ground between the two of them. Red Eagle going to have to get a little bit more aggressive if they want to find the fire.
Yeah, man, Red Eagle seems to be hunting. Relic with looked like a G18, a Scar L,
Relic.
And I missed what the third weapon was on Relic's. He flipped through pretty quickly there. But Red Eagle's definitely hunting, but at the same time having a kind of stuck.
Yeah, the water. This is probably one of the hardest parts of the map to get on out of, just because of the way that the water works. The height of it is just at that jump range where you have to get that max jump, kind of just a little bit of speed on it to get up there. And Relic should potentially spot out Red Eagle here. Again, with Red Eagle knowing where Relic is, this could go poorly for them. Is it actually going to be dropping down? Relic is very, very close to getting shot, but he's just not on the edge. Wow. Just too slow on the draw. The shot's going to come out. Red Eagle going to be able to close that one down. The hunter finds its prey.
So much for height advantage, because traditionally when you're talking about a shooter, but just the angle that it was at, there was a lot less showing, and just well played. Red Eagle knew that he was there. I think that Relic wasn't sure if Red Eagle was. Oh, but speaking of knowing that somebody is there, clearly there is that audio cue that Atlas is driving, but he does decide against it and keep going. So Leitvis has some more free looting to do.
And what we see there in that little engagement, as well as what we just saw in the water village with Relic and Red Eagle, the third-person camera does impact the way it is, because even though your body could be completely hidden, and that kind of gives you a little bit of a trade-off. So while you're not always going to be ready to fight, you're going to have that little bit of extra room to kind of breathe and scan the area around. And it allows you to hide a little bit better, as we've seen from some of these players. It looks like Rhino Main going to be driving on past the school, up near there, between it and Rozhawk. This is a wide open field. This one is a good spot for snipers.
Yeah, should be interesting. I would not be surprised to see if somebody did get us. Oh, come on, please. Come on, crossbow. Come on, baby.
All he needs to do is find it. This is going to be, if he hits this shot and it is long range, all right, he doesn't do it. But if he had hit that shot and it's long range, the crossbow, a lot of people underestimate it. So, like, you can get the highlights from it. It's one to just put in that reel to play it off. Long range, sniping crossbow kill, silent weapon, one-shot kill, everything you could hope for with it. But unfortunately, bullet drop is something you really have to account to for that. And it just doesn't seem to work out that well.
And so what we've got cruising for now, 37 alive. We can see everybody's doing okay. Got a bunch of people in cars.
And this is another kind of positional advantage when it comes down to it. The cars are going to allow them to get where they want. And we actually see a few of those are going to be inside the circle already, just kind of looking for maybe some repositioning, maybe to try and find as much loot as they possibly can. I see Katie Cakes going to be driving around as well, as it looks like some of these other players are still trying to get into the circle in the first place. Some of them taking that tick damage as it's already closing down. The first one looking to be almost completed. And some of them still, some players just out there looting as best they can, some running as fast as they can. I see Sixth Rune making his way up there, but they're still in a position. They're taking tick damage. They're putting themselves at a disadvantage.
Yeah, Machine Gunner is somebody who we saw him do pretty well previously, round 1 specifically, but being this far out, definitely not great for him. So, and Gazrilla, let's see if he can maybe find. He obviously doesn't have the marker that we do, but it looks like that car has been shot out, so he's definitely got a shot. And with a suppressed SKS, he's got all the time in the world.
And able to kind of take these shots and not worry too much about giving himself away. Of course, we should see at least a little bit of knowledge of, okay, well, he's shooting at me. I'm coming from military base. Where else could this guy be? Maybe taking some shots over there. But now being forced to cross the bridge himself, Gazrilla is in an interesting position where he knows a player is around. He has that silenced SKS, like you mentioned, taking some shots, trying to get the kill. But he also has the options for a boat. He can swim across. He has a wide variety of choices to go through, and he's actually looking to opt in towards taking the tires out and taking out the vehicle instead of focusing on getting the kill.
Yeah, so, and of course he has his own car, so he can zip around or launch himself into the water or just haul right past if needed. Reptar hiding out in the swamp and sees Mosin driving by. Again, another formidable opponent.
So far, a common theme that's really coming across from these players, and from what I can see, except for maybe the exception of Machine Gunner, who's still out in Yosnaya Poliana, taking all of the damage from the circle, is that a lot of these players that we're seeing that have made it to top 10 almost regularly are taking that advantage, taking where they land, and they're not focused as much on getting the best loot as much as they are focused on getting into the next circle as soon as they can, using what they have to their advantage. We see Salted Pepper taking some shots out there. Daniel going to be stuck with a UMP, not going to be the best thing to have at range, especially against an AK, but still has some potential, especially against the level 1 helmet sitting here on Salted Pepper. Might be able to find anything, but ultimately he's at a distinct disadvantage.
Definitely, and it's kind of crazy to look at all of the different positions, because we are, I mean, we're at one side of the map. You would think that it would be really easy, just, you know, everybody's coming in from the east or the south, but it's still surprisingly managing to be a very circular entrance to the middle, where everybody's coming in, approaching pretty much from all sides, because everybody's trying to play a little bit safer.
And it's also giving us these, I want to say, better fights when it comes down to it. We see, like, right now, Gazrilla is stuck on the boat or on the bridge in a 1v1, but some of these other players we're seeing, like you said, sweep around from the left side, sweeping around from the top. This Froco solo using that first aid kit, going to not make it out of there, as we see Gazrilla going to be able to pick that one up. Just a little tiny ankle shot, but that's all it's going to take to get the last kill.
Yep, and so, okay, now we're down to 35 exactly. Machine gunner still, he does have a vehicle now, so that's going for him, and I'm sure that he's got plenty of stuff to heal up with, but again, not where you want to be this far.
I am honestly baffled he's been outside of the circle for as long as he has. Just kind of seems to be shrugging it off so far. Like you said, we're at 34 alive, or 35 alive, and he just doesn't seem to be too worried about his positioning. Even after the circle passed him, he decided to sit over and continue looting. Even after the next circle had spawned, he decided to sit in the city and continue looting, just now kind of finally making that rotation over, as we're seeing Salto Pepper looking to get aggressive, might be able to find a kill here if he has it. He knows where Daniel is, and it doesn't that hill.
Honestly, I kind of want to see him get hit by a bomb. Like, it's over now, but that bombing run is sitting right on top of him. A bomb just, bam, dead. Would be hilarious.
That's one of those things, like a lot of players, this is something, like I've seen this so many times. I've run through the red circle and I didn't get hit by a bomb, and I've done it 6 times in a row. The 7th time, you're not always going to be lucky. One of those bombs is coming for you.
And that's my favorite thing about, like, streamers, especially some of like the montage videos where people are getting mad at this at the game for whatever thing, and they get mad because they got hit by a bomb, and it's like that's the point of the bombing zone, is that people die in the bombing zone. Stop it.
It's either take cover or get hit, and it seems like it worked out right now for Salto Pepper. Still going to be able to have this advantage, and actually just based on the map, he's just inside the circle as well, so he doesn't have to worry too much. Although his back is exposed, but he has his eyes still set on Daniel. Not sure if he realizes, I'm pretty sure there's some doors on the other side of the building if Daniel were to jump down, try to run away. I think the sound might just be loud enough to allow Salto Pepper to hear it, but there is a runaway pattern here depending on where Daniel chooses to go.
Yep. Ooh, nice shot from Fairy Tail. Can he finish off Voxic, though, is the question. Wait. Ooh, Voxic. Luckily for him, the motorcycle is still indestructible for now.
Just a couple more hits. The heel going to be able to get off, which I think is going to be the big thing there for a little bit of a way to fight back, at least to try and get away.
Voxic getting low here. Can Fairy Tail find the last shot? Cannot quite seem to do. Oh my goodness. And Voxic actually managed to juke him.
That's going to be the big one. Honestly, at that point, the question comes down as to whether Fairy Tail of Sin starts to feel maybe a little bit of tilt coming into that. He does have a level 3 helmet. I think that's the 3rd time in a row that I've switched over to him in each game that he has managed to get that. But Voxic having enough heals to be able to keep himself alive right now. We see one player get knocked down now at 34 left. Fairy Tail of Sin does still kind of have his eyes set onto Voxic, but with the circle closing in, a lot of players now, they're going to be waiting patiently to see where the next circle is going to spawn. As Gazrilla going to hear someone starting up a car right outside his building.
Yep, and Lush is running for that, possibly running for the crate. And if he does hit that crate, that'll actually be pretty big for him. Oh, and he sticks the landing. 10 points. Actually, more like 6.
Able to find that one now. Has still a getaway for when it comes down to it. Gazrilla, though, does have an 8x from what we saw right there. So depending on how this goes, positioning-wise, should be out of there cleanly. No worries.
All right, let's see. We got another Miho. We have been watching him. Oh, does he see? Yep, he sees him. Nope. Ooh, low, but not enough. Unless this is... There we go. Gets the kill. 33 left. Good shots.
The patience is going to be what kind of wins it out right there. And again, just taking aim, pointing exactly where he needs to. There's going to be one big thing. Don't drive in a straight line, especially when someone's shooting at you. And even when you're trying to bob and weave, I know it can get hectic, especially in the buggy with spinning out. But some of the bigger issues comes down from that as we see a couple vehicles spawned up all across the outer edge of the map. A lot of players looking to make their way in. 33 alive, and honestly, that's a lot for how small the circle is about to get. We're probably about to see this number drop in half.
Very likely, as this man has survived so many times on that motorcycle. But this may be the end.
There's some shots being thrown out. Gazrella just looking for the final kill, but not able to get it. But it seems like Vosrik was actually driving into more players there, unfortunately for him.
It should be interesting. Whew, I gotta remember to breathe. I was watching and it's just like, what's happening?
Especially with, I want to say like the high-end positioning, but just someone
Kramer's got an
especially
AWM.
this at. All it'll take is the one. We don't need to worry too much about him. He's going to be able to make it through.
Let's see. Smithy, is he going to see him? He hears him. He sees him.
That's actually going to be a big question.
Does not get the shots.
Unfortunately, Smithy, at this point, he's going to be one of these players again. We've seen him make it regularly, top 10, top 5, and he made number 1 the first time. But the big thing I think I've seen from his play is he gets a lot of kills late game. He kind of patiently waits. He doesn't focus on, can I pick you off now? Can I pick you off then? I just noticed Machine Gunner is on the map in the circle now.
Yep. And, oh, JRF manages to make it inside, but there is a grenade that is about to say hello to his face. Uh-oh. And A-Raw, nope, gets the kill with the M16, not with the... Unfortunately, no grenade kill.
It's not going to be the grenade, but at least we're going to still see, I mean, a kill come out there as it goes down. The drastic number is going to be dropped down. 31 left alive as it stands right now. The circle getting smaller. It's going to be more skirmishes like that. And the players that are sitting in the houses right now are going to have a little bit of an advantage. But this next part of the map, it's going to be hilly, but it's going to be open. And while part of the mountain, as we see right now, is with X Team getting in the fight, going to be able to find himself a kill up there as well. This is going to be the spot where I think a lot of players, whoever gets control of this, I think is going to be the one who kind of has the distinct advantage for this next circle.
It should be very interesting to see. Fairy Tale of Sin has somebody actually coming up right behind him. I think he probably sees Pug at this point. It's going to be close. Yep. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, he knows he's there. Definitely knows he's there now. The question is, does he take the shot? Because if he doesn't have a suppressor, he's definitely the kind of player that won't go for it. And we will see somebody die outside the circle as well, most likely.
Just waiting for him. Honestly, at this point, again, take aim, take shot. But like you said, we're going to have no silencer impact here.
So that's actually a pretty big deal. That see if he doesn't get that, because he didn't get that kill. Now he has to get it with the M16, which is suppressed. So I'm surprised he didn't just rip into that.
Yeah, the way that he could have. But staying silent, I mean, at that point, like you said, it's going to be a little bit more, especially with 25 left and the circle getting as small as it is. Car shots are going to be a beacon of light. Pretty much everyone left alive in the circle is going to be able to hear it. It might not be as loud for some of the players as it will for others, but it's still going to be like a big notifier of, hey, I'm over here.
And especially with a suppressor, and it's only a 4x scope, like I would consider just slapping it on my M16, you know? Yeah. If I was Fairy Tale, I mean, yes, he's a great shot with that car, but at these ranges, slap that M16 on, put 3 shots in their chest or head, and you're good to go.
Now, Fantasy of Sin, I believe this is the furthest he's made it. Usually it gets shaky around this like kind of top 20 area for him. A couple players looking, I think, still to kind of make it. As the next one, making it even smaller. And a lot of players having a mind easily they can get picked off if they have to make it through here.
Yep, Katie Cake's in some trouble here. Oh no, Evenings gets the kill onto L2P Lush, not Katie Cake. So that means that there is somebody else out there looking at Katie Cakes quite possibly. And so she needs to be careful. But nope, Evenings is no longer looking at Katie Cakes. So count her blessings, I guess.
At this point, we might be able to see her kind of do what she did last game, where for the most part, like, she got into skirmishes, she got into fights, but she was able to kind of stay alive towards the top 2, with really just kind of a positioning that wasn't so aggressive that players would notice her. She was just kind of on the edge of the circle, never getting too aggressive. Machine Gunner is somehow still alive, even though he spent the first half of this game outside the circle, still going to be able to kind of make it through. And honestly, at this point, might be able to continue and can keep his push now with only 21 left alive. This is the kind of player, and honestly, with the way that he's kind of demonstrated his play so far, he definitely wants to live as much as he can, but he does have someone pretty much right on him.
Yeah, so this is gonna be stressful, especially because we've got so many people. Smithy, our first and fifth place is still, he's hauling in outside the circle, and he's getting chunked right now by that electricity.
And unfortunately, it's looking like this is going to be causing a lot of trouble for a few players who didn't quite make it through, as we're going to be seeing. I mean, like Reptar running as well.
That's
they're going to be taking that damage.
A-Raw manages to find the kill onto Reptar there. And we do see that, at least Smithy made it inside here, but with Machine Gunner, yep, does he see Smithy is the question.
That's all it's going to take. It's a couple of shots to be able to get him again. Running through that circle, it's going to chunk you, especially these later end circles. That's going to make the bigger difference. The hill looking to be a little bit more of an advantage for Smithy right here. Should be able to heal.
Barely makes it in.
Photo finish. When it comes down to it, a lot of these players at this point, if they are not moving towards this new circle, as much as they want to take their time and to be a little bit more patient, top 17, it's going to matter a little bit more. They have to get moving faster. They cannot afford to get caught out because this next circle is going to be the killer.
Yeah, definitely, especially because a lot of players are looking a little bit light almost on medicine, because they're all, and we're seeing a lot of people here sitting between 50 and 75% health. Partially just because, again, there's been so much fighting this round. Voxic with that AWM, looking for something possibly, because I certainly heard the sound.
So I think at this point, I firmly believe that Voxic has plot immunity. We have seen him get shot at on this motorcycle I don't know how many times, and at this point he was in a just distinct disadvantage, someone coming up behind him, and his reaction time was just enough to be able to kind of turn around and get the kill. He hit pretty far, and he's playing this very well.
Definitely. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. He is very far outside the circle. Currently, the only people inside the circle are Smithy, and I missed the other name. But okay, Miho and Gazrilla. Oh, no, and Sacrity. There we go. Katie Cake's just outside of it as well. X-Team looking like he's in a bit of a fight on top of there, but nope, Gazrilla still taking shots away at Miho.
This is going to be the thing. A lot of players, this is they tend to falter, is that they take these fights that are happening like right as the circle is hot out there.
Oh, as well Voxic is getting chopped. I think his plot immunity has finally come to an end.
Unfortunately for him, the circle, you can't other player in this game. You have to think. I mean, you have to play it. And as it stands right now, it looks like we're going to be dropping down. The numbers are dwindling top 10.
Yep, 10-9, just like that. Smithy killing X-Team. So Smithy's made it back to top 10. I believe that's 3 games now where he has made top 10. So,
yep,
props to him. Voxic dead. Machine Gunner right on the edge. Rhino main, it did go outside the play zone. Machine Gunner actually did get the kill on Voxic, so that means that Voxic will provide an extra point to another player, not just the play zone. We did see a main fell there. Look at all those on the minimap, just those 3 red skulls right there. And Gazrilla in not an awful place, but Machine Gunner's looking at his back, and Smithy's right on the other side. Smithy, the closest person to safe right now. Katie Cake's playing it slow. This will get her a little bit further, but not much, just considering some of these angles. Evenings and Sacrity are a bit of a fight. Evenings low, but has the AWM, and he's using a first aid kit, so he could be okay. But, oh, no, Sacrity going to overkill with a headshot SKS. Now there are 5 remaining.
And like you said, a couple of them sitting relatively close to safe, but a lot of them still needing to move over towards that circle. And with the way it's positioned on the hill, maybe possibly a little bit more vision, but with the trees all kind of scattered around through there, we see like Sacrity and Katie Cake's going to be using. They should be able to have some cover as the circle.
Yep. So we have 7 seconds. We're going to see Machine Gunner smoke up and run. I think he met. Ooh, Sacrity. Nope, he's going to go back the other direction. He's okay. But question is for how long? Especially because Gazrilla is actually looking at him not moving outside of the circle, and Gazrilla's going to take the shots, and Machine Gunner is in some trouble. Gazrilla going to keep going at it, but nope, he's got to start moving, and there we go. Katie Cake's going to be the one to find that kill. She's going to get him, and Gazrilla pushing down away from the circle, opting to go for kills instead of ends, and now we are all of a sudden down to 3 left. Gazrilla getting chunked pretty hard by this, needs to get into the circle. He is just going to beat it in, but he is hurting now, and now we just have Smithy, Gazrilla, and I do not see... Come on, Gazrilla, look to your right. I need to see his name. There we go. Slackerdie. So,
I believe
and speaking of Slackerdie did get chunked out by Smithy pretty hard.
Sitting around, and I think at this point, all the players do have as well. So really, kind of being able to play this one pretty much the way they would want to.
Yeah, definitely. And most importantly, here is the only person that is actually safe, quote unquote, safe in the circle right now is Slackerdie, and Gazrilla just managed to kill Slackerdie by shooting out his leg a couple times. Oh, actually, no, so Gazrilla shot him in the head. Smithy was shooting him in the leg. Excuse me there, but now the last 2 players are on the ridge, neither of them wanting to give up the high ground, but they both will have to move in 40 seconds, so this could be a game of chicken.
And Smithy really looking to try to find his second win here. Again, with the range coming for it, Gazrilla have that SKS to try and get it, but like you said, the ridge is going to be the main play. Waiting patiently for both of them. Like, both of them just kind of waiting for the first.
Yep, so we're going to see some grenades coming out from Gazrilla. He's going to start rushing for the circle. Smithy does have that car available. And that just happened.
That just happened.
Gazrilla with the I mean, he threw the grenade. And wow, that was...
He just... Yeah, that just happened. I don't even know how to like read into that one. Just seeing him, like, I mean, he sees as the car starts going. I guess he just said Smithy has to go this way. That's where he is. Places it in like the perfect position. Gets the kill. Just
yeah. So
easy peasy.
Easy peasy. GG.
The thing that kind of catches me, like just looking at the top 10, as we see Smithy make it back up there. Not going to be number 1 again, but he's making it to number 10. Kind of surprised us. Machine Gunner is the player we were looking at. I mean, he was in the city, outside of the circle. He went there. He looted up. He started taking tick damage. He continued to loot. Yep. He started taking more tick damage after the second circle spawned. And then he finally decided, okay, now I'm going to get a car. Makes it all the way to number 3. But as we can see, 7 kills. Gazrilla going to be playing that one pretty much to the note, getting that last one. Yeah, everything going just his way.
Did not make top 20 in our first game. So just keep that in mind there, that Gazrilla went from, outside of the top half and went from there. Smithy took took top 4, I believe, in all 3 of the games.
Yep.
Slackerdie, same thing. Katie Cakes went 8 to 5, or 4, excuse me. So certainly not bad there. L2P Lush again up there. Reptar 1 up there. Zwiro. Again, we saw them bouncing around. So I certainly look forward to not being an admin, so I don't have to crunch the numbers myself. But I do look forward to seeing the numbers.
Especially because, like we were mentioning earlier, and kind of deserves mentioning here, kills do count a little bit. So even if you weren't able to place, in the top 10 as high as you would wanted, you weren't number 1 each time, the amount of kills you got across each game is going to afford you 1 point each. So that can kind of cause some just hectic play for a lot of these players, because they're going to be coming in saying, like Katie Cakes, looking at her, she was going to be not necessarily high kill count, high placing each time, but combined, she might be able to beat out some of the other players that were a little bit consistent in one, but not consistent in the other.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing sort of how things go in the following weeks. Again, if you are interested, you can check us out on Twitter at PUBG League, that is PUBG League, or at PUBGleague.gg for more sign-up information there, or information on the schedule, ladder pricing, etc. So do be sure to check that out. Thank you all for tuning in. I wasn't planning on doing a throw, so I have no idea how to end this show.
Well, at this point, yeah, thank everyone for watching. Of course, from us, follow me, mtarget, where you can find us on Twitter as well. But make sure to follow the league. Join in. I believe you still can sign up for these things as you want to. We'll be going next week, the week after, and so on and so forth. 3 games each week, and it's looking like they're so far the competition's been good, and we'll have to see how it is as we go into it. But we'll, for now, just take this week-long break, and we'll see you as we start up next week.